The first time Ava stepped into Westbridge High, her fingers dug into her backpack straps like they were her only anchor. Every hallway felt endless, every glance from a stranger like a spotlight on her chest tightening with fear. New town, new school, no one she knew. Her anxiety wasn't just nerves, it was a storm swirling in her chest, sharp and unrelenting, making each step feel like trudging through quicksand. Just survive the first week, she muttered under her breath. Then maybe it'll get easier, but it didn't. At first, the students were only curious, their eyes following her timid movements. That curiosity, however, twisted quickly. A stutter in English class, a jump at a sudden noise. The way she hesitated before sitting alone in the cafeteria, tiny sparks for whispers that grew into fire. The laughter started soft, then sharpened, cutting deeper every day. Imitation followed, cruel and precise. And just like that, she had a new name, Twitch, but none of it compared to Chad, loud, popular, smirking like the world was his playground. And somehow, Ava had just wandered into the center of it. Chad was never alone always, flanked by his loyal crew, Brandon, Mia, and Lexi. To them, Ava wasn't a person. She was entertainment, a living punchline. Hey, Twitch. Did your mom pack your anxiety for lunch? Chad's voice cut across the cafeteria, sharp and cruel, and the others erupted in laughter. Every day, Ava counted down the minutes until she could escape home. Her heart pounded so hard it felt like it might burst. At night, she cried quietly under her blanket, asking herself over and over why life seemed determined to break her. But what no one at Westbridge knew was that Ava wasn't as fragile as she appeared. Back in her old town, before her father had died and everything fell apart, she'd been a devoted judo student. Her dad, a black belt, had trained her from childhood, not just teaching holds and throws, but discipline, poise, and self-worth. After he passed, she had abandoned the mats, abandoned herself. But his words lingered. Real strength isn't loud, Ava. It listens, it breathes, and it waits. That Friday, the torment hit its peak. Gym class. The coach was running late, leaving the students unsupervised for just a few minutes, but that was all Chad needed. Ava stepped onto the mats, each movement shaky, dread curling in her stomach at the thought of the self-defense demonstration. Well, Chad drawled, his grin sharp, his eyes gleaming with mischief. Chad swaggered toward her, his crew circling like predators, every step dripping with arrogance. Looks like Twitch is going to teach us how to fall down, he jeered. His friends snickered behind him. Ava said nothing. Ice seemed to pool in her veins as she forced herself to slow her racing heartbeat, to control her trembling hands. But Chad wasn't done. He flicked her forehead with a cruel grin. Come on, show us what you've got. Scared, gonna cry again. Then, laughing, he jabbed at her shoulder. And that's when something inside Ava shifted. It wasn't fury, it was clarity. A door she hadn't realized was closed, swung wide. Her body moved on instinct before her mind caught up in one smooth, fluid motion. She stepped aside, seized Chad's wrist, twisted, and flipped him hard onto the mat. The room froze. Chad groaned, sprawled on the floor, completely stunned. His friends gaped. The other students stared, mouths slightly open. Everyone had just witnessed what they hadn't expected. Ava, small and quiet, standing her ground, she drew a slow breath, shoulders steady, eyes calm. Not cocky, not apologetic, just calm. Holy crap, Brandon whispered, voice trembling. Did she just throw him? Coach Simmons' voice cut through the stunned silence as he entered, catching the tail end of the scene. What's going on here? Ava met his gaze calmly and said, simply, he asked me to show him. For the first time, no one laughed. The whispers spread through the school like wildfire. The quiet girl flipped Chad. She knows judo. She's not what we thought, but the bigger change was inside. Ava, she wasn't walking through the halls like a ghost anymore. No more staring at the floor, no more hiding behind her hair. Her anxiety hadn't vanished, never would completely, but she'd discovered something stronger, a quiet, unshakable core, strength, confidence, proof that she wasn't broken, just bruised. Learning to heal. Weeks later, a younger student approached nervously at lunch, sliding onto the bench beside her. Is it true? You took down Chad? Ava smiled softly, warmth in her eyes. Yeah, she said. And for the first time, she didn't feel like hiding. She felt seen. She felt capable. She felt free.